For your safety, remain seated with the doors closed, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside while the tram is moving. And supervise your children.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
'Cause this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Soar into tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Dead men tell no tale.
I know not who you are, nor how I came to find you. But may I just say,
Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Scott Atwood.
And I'm Michele Atwood, and we are the owners of the Main Street Mouse.
And this is the Main Street Mouse Weekly Podcast, show number 148 for June 17th, 2024.
Oh, my goodness. We missed last week for very good reasons, right, Scott?
Yeah, we were exhausted. Actually, no, last Monday we were actually at the Magic Kingdom. Actually, right about this time, we're probably in the Contemporary getting ready for the festivities.
Right. Okay, so we missed last week because we had two huge media events to attend to. One was for Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point for Disney Cruise Line.
Correct.
And the other one was for Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
They were great. I mean, it was... We knew about this for months leading up to it, but we were still kind of a little bit stressed because it was just so much we had to make sure we had coverage of. And a lot of these media events are one and done. I mean, you'd really, a lot of the things that happen, it's one time. So if you don't get the film, if you don't cover it right, if you don't do this or that, or the camera doesn't work or something like that, it's really kind of stressful. It
is. And I think for us, so we were the first group ever, minus cast members, on Lighthouse Point.
Yeah, Lighthouse Point.
I always, there's the two L's.
So Lookout Key is where
at Lighthouse Point.
Correct.
I wish it just had one name like Castaway Key.
Well, that would make it too easy.
It would be easier.
Disney doesn't do easy.
I know. So earlier today, I recorded a segment about this for Fox 35.
Right.
And the anchor was like, okay, so Lookout K. I'm like, no, it's Key.
No, you don't say that.
I don't say it's Key.
Yeah,
and then Lighthouse, she had her L's messed up too.
I think a lot of people had, just because it is such a long name. But I think the reason for all that is because the whole island is at Disney's Island.
Exactly, and we're going to talk about that too. Do you want to just kind of go through our Wednesday to Tuesday?
That's how I had it written down. So yeah, we're not.
Oh, I forgot. You have an outline. I'm just winging it.
I know. I have an outline. So I did write this down because I just wanted to, I didn't want to forget anything more than anything. I wanted to make sure we covered everything that we did, so we could pass that along to you guys so you could hear it and hear our opinions of things and what we liked, what we didn't like, because we're going to be honest. I mean, a lot of people on social media don't think we are, but...
Oh, that's a whole other thing. Are you going to call me names too?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but just to touch a little bit on that though, so... In the last week or so, whenever we put out something positive that we've liked, we've been told that we're only doing that because Disney invites us.
Oh, no, my friend. Because, you ready for it?
I'm ready. Wait.
Disney pays me to say nice things, or they give me extra incentives to be nice.
Right.
Now, I tried arguing with people. So for those of you that don't know, Scott runs the back end, helps with blogs, but I do all the social media posts, and I am the post reader.
Right.
Because I watch comments.
And I hate Facebook.
You're never on Facebook.
Hate Facebook.
I know you do.
Worst thing ever invented.
It is not. Well, it kind of is these days. But so, I tried to put out nice things and but opinions too, because I didn't have all positive opinions about the cruise line island.
Right.
But people called me delusional. They called me a shill. They called me a liar. They called me, I'm pandering. I'm kissing Disney's butt because I have to. Stuff like that. So I ended up having to ban some people off our main page. Oh. And it wasn't just, people put me in Disney groups that I don't even join.
Right.
So every once in a while, I see something on my wall. And people in different Disney groups are like, oh yeah, these media, blah blah blah. They get paid to say that. We don't get paid nothing.
We don't get paid. I don't know if maybe the real media like Fox and CNN and Travel Network and all those people, I don't know if Disney pays them. I doubt it. Disney may put them up. They may fly them in. They may do all that stuff. But for us, we get invited to cover these. And by doing that, we get our admission to like the cruise ship. Disney covered our costs to be on the ship.
Right.
Disney for Tiana's Bayou Adventure that day, our admission to the park that day was covered. Even though we're annual pass holders, which we pay for, they paid for that. They covered our food expenses for the day. So they cover your expenses when they want you at a media event. However, they do not hand us a check at the end of the event saying, here you go, thank you for your coverage, have a great day, because what they give us does not pay our bills.
No. So yes, we get the privilege of attending some major events that we never would have dreamed that we could do. However, we are not paying our bills on Disney's dime.
No. A perfect example coming up here is the D23 Expo.
Oh, yes.
So we get invited with media to go to the expo, but Disney does not cover our airfare. They do not cover our hotel.
Nope.
They do not cover our food when we're there. They do not cover any of those expenses. They don't even give us tickets to go to the parks while we're there.
Absolutely not.
The only thing we get is media passes to cover the events of the D23 Expo to share the press information with our following. That's it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So we totally sidebarred right from the beginning, but it is frustrating when you do your best to be, an honest journalist and people have to talk smack, and that's not true. So that being said,
let's go.
This podcast is going to be the good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the whatever. So let's just do it.
Without Clint Eastwood. So as Michele said, Wednesday is when everything kicked off for us. So it was on Wednesday, the 5th of June.
Right.
Kicked off, and we had to get to MCO, the airport out here, to jump on the Brightline, which we took the Brightline from MCO to Fort Lauderdale.
Which is the train.
Which is the high-speed train, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Brightline, but you may not know anything about it. The Brightline is actually really convenient.
It is.
It was great because we just hopped on the train. It's very easy to get on the train. You literally scan your little ticket at the scanner there. The thing's open. You put your luggage through the security belt, comes back, and then you just wait for your train to be called.
And then when you get there, you just take your luggage off with you, and you're right outside, and you go find, we had to find a Lyft driver.
Correct, yep.
To take us to the hotel where we were staying at. So Disney had us at a business type hotel.
Correct.
That Wednesday night, because in the morning we had breakfast, and then they were shuttling us over to the Magic because we were on the Disney Magic, which is the oldest ship.
Correct. So the hotel, we get there. Our Lyft driver pulls up to the hotel, and there is police everywhere.
It was for me. They were excited.
It was because we got there, and the guy goes, "Oh, there must be somebody." I said, "She's sitting right next to me." So
I wish.
So we get there, and even before we even get up to the parking area for the hotel we're staying at, somebody is outside with a pad of paper, and they're like, "What's your name?" But they wouldn't let us go past that point.
Yeah, it was very strange.
So we're like, what the heck's going on? Who is staying here that is this big? Because I worked in hotels in Vegas. I'd never seen security like this before at any hotel. So this was insane to me. So once we get in there, we get checked in, we see our media reps when we walk in the lobby, and everything is Disney when you walk in there. They had Disney stuff everywhere about the event and all this stuff. We come to find out that the soccer player Messi, who I guess is the top soccer player in the world right now. Very well. His team and him are staying in that same hotel we were at, and the security and everything wasn't for us like we thought.
We never thought.
Which we had to talk to somebody at the front desk about. But it was for him and the team, and it was just crazy to see police at every door.
It was very weird. It was almost like a high official or somebody was staying there, or somebody. To see police, I don't know. But again, I'm not a soccer fan. I've heard of Cristiano Ronaldo, who is also up there, but I never heard of Messi. I don't even know his first name. Starts with an L, I think.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I knew the jersey. I've
Mr.
seen his
Messi.
jerseys. But we ended up just looking around, and they never brought the players through the main lobby. They came through a side entrance. The back
so all those cops weren't really necessary, were they?
No, not at all. Not that we're spreading rumors that you can go find their hotel and find them at the back door to meet them.
We don't know where they.
We don't know where they would come in, but it was just really odd to us. So we got there. We were hungry. This was middle.
We're always
effort.
hungry.
We're always hungry. They had snacks and stuff when we got there, but
I had a really crappy egg salad sandwich on the train.
Hey, that was a good $17 egg salad sandwich.
You know what? I felt so robbed after that.
One thing I will say about the Brightline. So if you're going on the Brightline and you have quite a couple hour drive or a couple hour ride, I should say, don't go for the food that's on the train.
No.
Buy it either at the train station because they do have a
bring your
little
own.
food, or bring your own, which they're fine with. You can bring drinks, you can bring any food you want to. You it's not like an airplane where you can't bring that stuff through the turnstiles when you're going to the train. You can take whatever you want to on the train, including alcohol, from what I heard.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity right there.
So
anyway, back to the hotel.
Back to the hotel. So we got there. We decided to eat something small just to kind of tide us over till dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
We walked around the property. We saw the biggest iguana I think I've ever seen in my life in the wild.
Yeah, we saw iguanas in the wild.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, and so I think that I'm like, what, Dr. Doolittle, or is that what that is? You
the one who talks to the animals?
Yeah, so Scott teases me all the time, sidebar, that I talk to everything. Like, I see a squirrel, I'll be like, oh, hi. So I did the same thing with the lizards, and they were in the pool area, and I was bound and determined to get up and close to that
It's funny
iguana.
you say that because I'm going to talk about something that happened on Lookout Key, about you talking to something.
I don't recall, but okay.
Something we found in the
I did talk to something
so we'll talk about that
else.
later.
Oh
We'll
my
bring that up in a
God,
little
I
bit,
forgot.
but there's something else we did.
I talked to animals.
She talks to animals everywhere. So we ended up meeting a lot of our other, I guess,
Colleagues that we were
colleagues
traveling
that we
with.
travel with, and we all kind of sat in the lobby just chit-chatting.
There wasn't anything else to
There
do.
was nothing to do. So if you didn't want to go swimming, and there was really nothing close by to walk to or anything like that.
No, again, it was like a business hotel. It wasn't like a quote unquote like vacation hotel.
Right.
It was more like a stopover at the airport because the airport wasn't far away. The cruise terminals are right there, so it's not a place that you would spend a week at.
No, a very nice hotel.
Yes,
very nice,
yeah.
but not a resort. Let's say it that
There
way.
you go.
It's literally a hotel to sleep in and maybe eat, and that's about it. There's no
right, and all the food in the bar and everything was all in the lobby. So we basically spent our whole afternoon and evening in the lobby until it was bedtime, and we didn't want to stay up too late because we knew we had to be up super early for the media breakfast and to get on the ship.
Right, and we know going into these media cruises that they do keep us pretty busy on the ship, so we kind of really wanted to get one last good night's sleep before we got on the ship and got thrown into that mix.
Right, because I think I've mentioned it before, and some people don't get it, but I swear I'm telling you the truth. We have to work the whole time, and Disney will make us get up early for specific reasons. So if you're up late covering something and Disney wants you somewhere at 7 a.m., that's what you do.
Right.
But anyway, so that morning, breakfast
was good. It was like a little buffet. Again, we sat with our colleagues and we all had breakfast together. And then we were told that they would start calling numbers to get on the ship, and we were in the first group.
We were
head to the ship, so we boarded the buses, the transport buses they had, and they took us over to the
cruise terminal. Yeah,
cruise terminal. That cruise terminal there is humongous.
It's really big, and this is Fort Lauderdale, by the way.
This is Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of ships in cargo ships as well as passenger ships.
Yeah, it's very different than Port Canaveral. We're used to going out of Port Canaveral when we do our cruises. So this was the second time. The first time we went in February on Princess Cruise.
Right.
But the Magic, because when we went on Magic the first time, it was out of Miami. Disney sent us to Miami.
Yes.
That was cool, by the way.
Yeah.
So we were super excited to get on the ship because it had been a very long time since we were on the Magic.
It had, and I really liked the Magic when we were on it in 2018, and I forgot how small that ship is because since then we've been on the Dream a couple times.
We've been on the Wish a couple times.
We've been on the Wish a few times. We've been on the Princess Cruise a few times.
Yeah.
Which are all much larger ships.
Yeah.
So when we got on the Magic, it was so quaint.
It was so first of all, I love the Magic because it has Tangled Dining in the Tangled Show, which was amazing, by the way. But when you walk into the atrium, it looks like a quarter size of the atrium that's on the Wish. It's much smaller.
Right. And for those that don't know, the Disney Magic was the first ship Disney made.
Yeah, it's the first and the smallest.
Yes. So it is a lot smaller than the current. If you go on the Wish and then you go on the Magic, you're like, wow, what happened?
Right, they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
It's kind of like Sleeping Beauty Castle versus Cinderella Castle.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, good analogy. But just like with the castles, it's still good though.
It's still great.
Little but good.
Yes. You the nice thing about the small ship though is you can really find your way around pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, So when we get off the elevators for like the first 24 hours, we always do a left and a right check. Like, where are we supposed to be?
Always. They have numbers in the walls that we still go the wrong way.
Still go the wrong
Every
way.
single time. I don't know why that is. And I always feel like, okay, yeah, we're going the right way. So by the last day, usually we've got it down pretty quick.
Yeah, we're good by the time we have to get off the ship.
Yeah, and this was only a 3-day ship cruise.
Yeah, they were basically sending us to the island to get that coverage, to do some content gathering on the ship, and that was it. It's not... it was a 3-day sailing with purpose.
Right. But they still did have everything on the ship going on. So we still had the dinners. We still had the shows. We had the trivia contest and the different things they do. The movies playing on the funnel vision. The pools were... So it was a full cruise, but it had a mission. The mission was to put all these people that were on the ship on lookout key to see what was there, what was offering. We were the first, as Michele said, we were the first one. So that first day on the ship Michele was most excited about because it was Tangled Day.
It's Tangled Day.
So we didn't have the full day, but we did have most of the day Tangled. So we had Tangled show was the first thing we did that evening.
Yeah, because when we boarded the ship, we had to check in with the media people. So there was a media event before dinner. So we went back to the room and changed. Of course, I had to put on my Tangled outfit. And you even put on a Tangled shirt.
I had a Tangled shirt that I wore, button-up shirt. I had for Tangled that I got years ago that I had forgotten I bought. And it actually
I posted that picture, and so many people were like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that shirt?
Well, I can sell it. If anybody wants to buy it, it's $500. Email me, and I'll put it in the mail. I'll even sign it if you want it. Even my sign it doesn't matter. If you want that shirt, you can have it.
So we got ready we had the late dining, which we usually don't.
Right.
So we got to see the early show of Tangled, the musical.
Mm-hmm. Actually, when we first got on the ship, first thing we did was us and all our friends, we all went to the buffet.
Oh, that's right. We did go to the buffet.
Forgot that. We went to Cabanas.
We did.
And we hadn't been to Cabanas in a long time because Cabanas is not on the wish. They have their own version of...
Yeah, and you don't get to go grab your own food. I mean, you got to tell them what you want in the case.
So
but anyway.
So it was nice to get back to Cabanas, but we ate, and then Michele had a little media reception type thing she had to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went back to the room, like she said, to get ready because it was Tangled show, which we've seen before in 18. We saw it.
We did.
Loved it, but honestly don't remember. And because they don't let you record these shows on the cruise ships, Disney does not let video get out of people recording these things.
Exactly. So you can't pull out your phone and record. Just trust me, I would love to, but it forces you to watch the production like the old days without a phone. So that part is kind of nice.
It is, because you get to enjoy what the performers are bringing. And
okay, so I'm just gonna make a statement real quick. So I'm not just saying this because of the obvious reason, but that Tangled show is amazing. It's beautiful. And there were people on the ship, our colleagues, if you will.
Many of our colleagues
said that is their favorite ship at sea, or favorite show at sea.
And I would agree. Until we saw that, Beauty and the Beast was my favorite on the Dream. And then once we saw the Tangled show in 18, I was like, oh my gosh, the way they do it is the movie come to life.
It is, and it's just so good, and the theatrics and the props and the lanterns, and it's just amazing. So I cried, and I sat there in my Tangled outfit crying, and I didn't bring any napkins, so that was a situation. But then after the beautiful show, we did Rapunzel's Royal Table.
Right, and I will say about the show real quick, the performers absolutely amazing in that show. The singing, the acting, everything, just even down to the Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah,
and the guys in the Snuggly Duck. It's just
Hook Hand scared me when I was trying to call Andrew.
He did at dinner. So if you ever get the chance to go on the Magic, make sure you go to that show. I know some people sometimes skip the dinner shows and such. But make sure you go to the Tangled one.
Don't skip that one.
No, not
There's
that
others on the ship you could skip, but not that one.
Yeah. Wow. So
Rare.
So as she stated, we had the late dinner that night. So we had dinner at Rapunzel's Royal Table. And the thing about Rapunzel's Royal Table is they actually do part of the show. They do some acting. It's her birthday, isn't it? Isn't that what they're celebrating?
Yeah, you're doing a birthday celebration. So
Hook Hand, you get what's the other one's name? I can't think of his name.
Can't think either. Another ruffian.
Plus
and then music.
Plus Flynn and Rapunzel are there.
Yes, and I know we've spoken about it before, but the whole dining room is all tangled out. The furniture, the
napkin holder,
like
the bread bowl. I mean,
everything. I mean, it was very hard for me to not walk out of there and try not drag a chair with
her
me.
purse was so heavy.
I only had my little purse. I did not. You can't
all
fit
that
a chair
silverware,
in there.
those metal bowls, the tangled napkins, the lanterns off the ceiling.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, all the lamps in there are lanterns. I really want one of those.
And then they have the tangled sun against the ceiling where the lantern comes down from.
Oh.
So that room is really well decorated, and it's very, very nice to see. And if you're a Tangled fan at all, you will love that room. And who isn't a Tangled fan?
I'm sure there's some, but they're wrong.
They're wrong. Those are probably Frozen people.
So like in the food, now we've also spoken about this, is being picky eaters. It's not always easy to find food on the cruise ships.
No, it's not.
So our workaround for this trip was we would order the garden salad or the soup off the kids' menu to start us off. And then
the bread is always good.
The bread is delicious. I'm so glad for those bread bowls because I would starve.
And they kept refilling them, so that was able to fill our bellies.
I don't remember what I even had at Rapunzel's.
Oh, gosh. Rapunzel's.
I was getting vegan stuff.
You had some kind of a vegan.
Or vegetarian.
Whatever. That first night. And I think I ended up, I'm not a big fan of steak, but I think I ate steak 3 nights. I know people, steak 3 nights in a row, how can you do it? I don't digest it well. That's why it makes me uncomfortable to eat steak for 3 days in a row. So.
No, but when there's not, and they have fancy food.
They do have fancy
a lot
food.
Of seafood, pork, lamb, stuff that we don't eat.
No,
so
we're very basic chicken.
We're very chickeny people.
Chickeny?
Yeah. Or I if there's a good pasta. I think I had a pasta one night.
It might have been a pasta.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But yeah, so I'm all about pastas, chicken, stuff like that.
And for those who have never been on a Disney cruise, now when you get to the restaurant, or any cruise for that matter, you get to the restaurant to give you the menu. And most people, 1 appetizer, 1 salad, 1 soup, whatever you're going to do. You can order everything on that menu if you wanted to.
Which we didn't.
We didn't. But we have seen people order multiple meals, multiple appetizers, multiple salads and soups and such. You can order all you want to, and they will just keep bringing it to you all night long, no matter what.
If I was a fan of fancy food, I probably would have ordered more.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's like when we went to Cabanas earlier in the day and we had lunch, they had shrimp and lobster claws or whatever they're called. What was it? Snow crab. That's what they had. Snow crab and
lobster
shrimp.
tail?
No, I think it was snow crab.
Okay. What was it with the lobster?
I don't know. They had lobster at one of the times though. I don't know, but it was all you could eat.
They had crustaceans.
But everybody was eating that stuff like crazy at Cabanas.
I know we didn't because we don't eat it.
No, but everybody else was. But yeah, so the food on the Disney cruise is all included. Eat as much as you want, as little as you want.
Fancy. I mean, if you
food.
have
if you're adventurous, we'll say.
Or even a more what's the word? I can't come up with the word. Your palate is more extended.
You're willing to eat anything.
No, not anything. There are some people that are more adventurous eaters and, don't have restrictions like I do.
Right.
You're better than I am. You'll eat pork or beef. I will not. So, I mean, I really stuck with the vegetarian options. And dessert was fair game.
You ordered chicken one night, I think, too. But
and I didn't eat it because so I ordered the lemon thyme chicken breast with mashed potatoes.
It looked good.
It was not.
No.
No, first of all, I got a chicken breast with a bone in it.
They paid you for this. Why are you giving that kind of review?
See, this proves right there that they don't.
Yeah, no, the food, while it is good, it's not what we normally would eat. I do like some of the food on there, but the soups are good, the salads are good, bread is amazing. But the meals,
some of the appetizers. So I did order brie one night, and my brie never came.
You never got that. Was at the Lumineer restaurant, which was the second night. That was the Beauty and the Beast restaurant we went to the second night.
Right. So anyway, enough about the food.
So we had dinner. We watched the show. So now it was 10 o'clock, I think, because we were in there for an hour and 45 minutes. Because they do have a show, so that dinner does last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And at that time, we decided, okay, what do we want to do? Because it's 10 o'clock, but we knew they had already told us that the next day getting to Lookout Key, we wouldn't be getting off the ship super early because the cast members had never been on the land yet.
Yeah.
They were working there. They had to unload all the food and supplies for the island first. So normally we get to an island, you're off the boat by 8:30. they told us don't plan on getting off till 10:30. So we had time to kill.
To get up and go to Cabanas and eat breakfast.
Right. So that night, did we play trivia that first night? I can't remember.
I don't even remember. The past week has been a blur.
I know. I can't remember what we did that first night after dinner. I think we may have just walked around, talked to people, and just checked out the ship and did all kinds of things. We did eventually play trivia. Michele did tie for first place on 80s trivia.
Yes, I did.
I think that was the second night, maybe. I can't remember.
But it was easy trivia, so I don't really feel like I deserve that title because it was just too easy and unfair. Now, if we did one like we did on the Wish.
Oh, yeah, you destroyed that one. That one was difficult.
Yeah, it was.
I think.
Bring it, people.
Well, on the one on the Wish, most people, like, once they had, like, because it's 40 points, so you get a point for the song, point for the band. Once they got up to, like, 30 right, Michele was, like, the only person with her hand in the air. And they're like, how many did you get? She's like, all 40. Like, oh, my gosh. So she did kill it on trivia. So, but this one, it was so easy. Like she said, it was
way too easy.
And I think there were 9 people that tied for first place.
There was. That's how easy it was. They were playing like Michael Jackson, Madonna. I mean, come on now. Anyway, so next morning we got up. We had Cabanas for breakfast, and then we went to regroup. And then it was time to hit the island.
So when we kind of were groggy waking up on that day, Lookout Key Day, we started hearing applauding. We started hearing cheering coming outside, and we're like, what in the world? So I get up, go look out on our veranda, and they're cheering every time they tied off one of the ropes for the boat or when they started bringing stuff off. So the cast members were so excited because this was the first Disney Cruise Line ship to dock at the island.
Yes. So it was a big deal. So when we docked and they, tied the ship to the port, cheering, then we saw the cast members walking to their first day at work.
Walking forever.
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So I guess we could go right there now.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so our room, like the veranda, was almost right over where you get off the ship.
Right.
So when we opened our curtain in the morning, in addition to the cheering and whatnot, was the big pier. And it was intimidating. Now, mind you, we've seen pictures, diagrams, whatever. To see how long that pier is to get to the island, I was like, holy moly.
And it seemed a lot longer in pictures. I mean, I was looking at it, and you could see the land in the distance. You had to look. Distance. You got your telescope out. You looked in the distance. You could see about how far away the land. So I end up, somebody had said it's about a half a mile walk, but it seems like it's a lot longer than that because along the path of the pier, there is no benches to stop and sit. There is no covering to help with the sun. And
no tram, no shade.
No tram or no shade. And actually, you take the pier to get to said tram.
Right.
To get to the beach area.
Right. So that long walk is just the first leg of your journey. Then when you get there, you got to hop on the tram. Then that tram takes you, 10 minutes to the other side of the island to the Lookout Key area. And now I just want to throw in there that the reason that this pier is so long was for conservation purposes because there's a lot of coral and crabs and other marine life in there, and it was to preserve.
Right.
So, yes, you are way the heck away from that island. It's quite a hike.
It is. But Disney or conservationists, they had him on the ship with us, but I was at a media event a few weeks before, and he was talking about how they didn't want to disrupt the life of the coral, the life of the sea animals, even the animals that live on the island. They didn't want to disrupt their lives. So they built this really long pier. Now, could they have done the pier a little bit better? Made it a little bit wider so they could put the tram on it to come back.
Yeah, because there's no trams. No, they did have some golf carts helping people with mobility issues, but there's it's basically you walk that pier.
You walk in, and it took us, I videotaped it just because it was the easy way to keep track of it. It was I think 13 minutes it took us from the beginning of it to the end, and we were just strolling. We weren't running. We
walked somewhat fast because we were excited.
Faster, yeah.
I was excited.
You were excited. The water is beautiful. Both sides of the ship on both sides of the pier, the water looked fantastic.
It's very clear. We'll talk about the beach in a little bit.
You could see as we were walking up to the tram, they did have a little kiosk selling some merchandise there. They had, I think,
like hats and stuff like that.
Like maybe supplies. They were selling the coolers with water.
Yes.
Which, if you're ever there, buy the cooler and get the water.
Oh my God! Especially on this island.
Especially on this island, you're gonna want it. It was a very hot day when we were there. Very hot. And everybody kept telling us, make sure you have sunblock, make sure you have water, make sure you have everything you need once you get off. Because it's a long walk back to the ship if you forgot something.
And truth be told, we underestimated.
We did.
Because now that I know what that island and that trek is all about, I would have a cooler or something with water in it.
Because on Castaway, every time we've been in Castaway, it's never been an issue.
No, because everything's right there. You get off the ship, boom, you're there.
Yeah, and there's covering everywhere to stay cool. There's ample water and things like that around the island to get. And they didn't have that like they did at Castaway. Now, we stayed a little bit later on the island, but still, you expect those things, and they weren't there. So I think that's what kind of threw us off a little bit with that.
Right. But by the time we actually got to Disney's part of the island, it was very... Okay, so let me just say this. If you are expecting Castaway Key, don't. No. Because these two experiences are nothing, and I mean nothing like each other.
The only thing similar is they're on an island in the ocean.
That's it.
That's about it.
So Lookout Key is very open. Instead of walking sidewalks, you're walking like these wooden docks.
Right, boardwalks.
They're called boardwalks.
Yeah, that's what they're calling
it. Look like big wooden docks.
Yeah, it looks like a deck type wood.
Yeah.
But they said they built that because, again, for conservation, they didn't want us walking in the path of the animals that live on the island. They didn't want us to disrupt where they live.
And I didn't. Here's the crazy part. I didn't see one animal.
I didn't see it. Not a darn thing. We looked. They were like, there's pink-shelled snails on this island. Never saw them. They said there's crabs on the island. They never saw them. I don't even think we saw a gecko or a lizard anywhere on this island.
No, and you know what? Being my affection for animals, I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see things.
Yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. So far we've gotten off the ship. We walked a 450-mile long pier, got on the tram, which it went pretty quick. We didn't have to wait that long for the tram. Got on the tram. It's about an 8 to 10 minute drive from there to the area where they drop you off that is closer to the beach area and where all the food is, where all the bigger shop is, all the...
But it's very... Okay, I'm going to use this word because I can't think of another one. It's very desert-like. So, like Castaway is very lush with trees and the greenery and very tropical.
Yes.
This one is hardly any of that. Right. And there's a lot of bear walking, like with those... What did you call them?
What's that?
The docks.
Oh, the boardwalks.
Yeah, okay, boardwalk. There's a lot of walking. So this island is stretched out very, very far.
Right.
It's a lot of walking and very little shade.
And one thing I noticed, so before we got on the trams, there was a section of cabanas there. Now, I'm not sure what cabanas those were. I think somebody said they were the family cabanas. I don't know how true that is because I don't know what the other ones would be.
It's not by anything else.
It's not by anything. I mean, you have a little bit of beach there, but there's probably 20 of them, roughly.
Maybe that's for people that have had enough with that pier and they don't want to keep trekking by. So,
tell you what, I would stay there, but the only problem is you don't have any food or anything on that side of the island.
Do we want the food?
Not unless they fix it, which we'll explain in a few minutes. So now we're into the area of the beach where we're going to spend the rest of the day, or area of the island where we're going to spend the rest of the day.
And we had content gathering to do. So you have to keep in mind, this is not your typical vacation day.
Correct.
We had one day to cover this whole island and get video and photos of the shows, the food, the bar area, the beach area, everything. And we had minimal time.
Correct. So we were kind of running from one side to the other.
And it was hot. Did I mention it was hot?
It was very hot. I was wearing Crocs because I can't wear flip-flops. If you ask Michele, my feet are too big.
And he never wears Crocs either. So
and I never wear Crocs. So I think my toes were probably ripped open within about an hour of us being there.
He had the worst blister on his foot.
Michele's feet were hurting because it's a lot of walking on these. The problem with the boardwalks is they only go one area, and if you want to go somewhere over here, you may have to walk forever to get to the right boardwalk to get down to where you wanted to go. It's not just a simple, I'm going to go that way, so I'll just walk straight to that path.
Right, and we went to the left, which is, it's also called Serenity Bay, just like Castaway, isn't it?
Yes, Serenity Bay, but wasn't? Yeah.
Yeah, the left was the adult area. The right was kids.
Oh, yeah, I'm facing the wrong way. Yep.
Yeah, turn around.
Yeah, okay.
So we ended up doing the adult area first. We got to tour a cabana. That was one of the content.
And those were really nice.
That was beautiful. I really like that because there's the cushy chairs, the shade. Shade. Yeah, so that was really nice. The cabanas, the one we were in, she said, held up to 10 people.
Okay.
So actually it's something, I know the cabanas aren't cheap, but if you're going with other people and pitch in, I think it'd be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't tell you exactly how much they are.
No, I have no idea. I don't even know what they cost at Castaway, to be honest, because we never have had one. So.
No, we never did that. We've been in them, but we didn't stay.
Right.
So then we kept walking past there because we knew that if you went down further, there's 3 food stations on the island, and the adult one kept going that way.
Right. One thing I will say, so if you've been to Castaway, Serenity Bay is a lot further away from the family beach. It's a much further walk or a tram ride to Serenity Bay than it is to just be at the family beach, which is the closest to the ship on Castaway. So this one, all the beaches are kind of in a row. So you have the whole family beach, which is basically twice the size of Serenity Bay. And then you have Serenity Bay, which is on the other side of that.
Yeah, so it's all one big beach. It doesn't. There really isn't separation there.
No, there really isn't. And they didn't have anything that kind of separated the adult only from the family side.
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing. But again, please, please, please keep in mind we are not being crappy people. That this was day 1 for this island and the cast members and Disney. And I think that they wanted this kind of feedback because being us the first people there, if we get our feedback, then they can have a better idea of things that need to be adjusted.
And the one thing also that helps Disney is a lot of us who were there, not just the media and the fan sites like we do for Disney, but a lot of it you had like actual Travel Channel, and you had people like this who travel magazines and such,
and a lot of travel agents bought on that ship
who have been on different cruises, been on different islands, so their input really does matter, and they know what works and what doesn't work. So I think Disney took that as we were really able to give some constructive feedback of what we liked, what we didn't like, and how they can hopefully adjust it over time. I mean, it's going to take time. A lot of the trees are small. A lot of the things like that, they got to grow in. So.
Okay, let's stay the course. Okay, so adult area, went past the boardwalk, the walks, the cabanas, and we headed over to the food area.
Yes, we went over to the food area. I don't know how to describe the food area.
Okay, let's do the good part first. They have a nice selection of food. They have chicken, ribs, burgers, salads,
hot dogs,
seafood,
macaroni and cheese, seafood bowls. They had different protein bowls you could do. They had the area. So all that was in area that was like a building they had built, where the other one is kind of at Castaway. It's outside.
This is a building, but it's like a walk-up buffet.
Yes. So you go up there, you get your food. They have a couple areas where they have the beverages and the ice cream.
Yeah, like at Castaway, they have that same type of thing, except the first one I went to wasn't working. You go to another one.
One thing I did like is that they had the soda machines and the ice cream machines in the same thing, where at Castaway they're kind of separated, so it was all in one spot. And it's kind of set between the food and the dessert food, or fruit and the cookies and stuff like that. So
yeah, and nothing was right by each other. You had to even walk to find a table after you got food.
So as we're walking up, I noticed these little silver fans that are on by food. They're on a lot of the tables for people to sit at.
And I've never seen those before.
And I'm sitting there going, I wonder what the little fan. Oh, they're probably there to help keep us cool. No, that's not what their purpose was. But their purpose, they didn't work either. So the flies were everywhere that day.
I was gonna say, just rip the Band-Aid off. Just say it.
We were flies were around the food at the buffet. They were doing their best to try to keep them away, but they can't stop them. And
it was like a swarm of flies. And like you got food, I went and got a table, and when you dropped your food off with me, there was flies like following you. And then when you got up to go get something else, I was fanning over your food trying to keep the flies off, but it's almost like it needed a cover. And then when you came back, I'm like, hurry up and take a bite of that burger, because I don't know how long you're going to have it for.
Now, a disclaimer, it wasn't because I was stinky or anything. It was because they wanted the food. It wasn't me.
No, and I heard from others on the ship. Now, mind you, we all had all the negatives. Everyone in our group had the same negative. So
everybody we talked to
had the exact same. So apparently the seafood end of the buffet had even more flies.
Yeah, they had to shut that area down eventually, because I guess they weren't really thinking, oh, you're on an island, you want seafood. Well, if you can't control the flies, you can't really have seafood out. So I think that they're going to have to figure out. I know they've already adjusted how they do the food. Somebody told me that they're serving it now and everything is wrapped when they hand it to you.
It needs to be. Or how about fumigate? Because, like, I don't care about conservation when it comes to flies.
Well, that's the whole thing is, so somebody in our group asked the conservationists, they were talking to them about what are they going to do about the flies, and the conservation like, well, we didn't destroy any flies. We didn't kill any of the flies, and that's why I guess it's good that all that. No, it's not good to have flies all over your food. Nobody wants extra protein on their burgers and stuff.
Okay, and I'm to the point, like, something lands on my food, I won't eat it at
Right,
all.
right.
So I chose not to eat.
No,
at
you didn't
all.
eat anything.
I was not touching that. And then after he had a couple bites of his burger, he's like, I can't eat this because it was a battle. You were like Lord of the Flies.
I had to eat so fast to not, and I could have inhaled a fly. Who even knows at this point? But it was absolutely horrible, the amount of flies and such. So that is definitely one thing Disney, they're aware of it now.
Oh, yeah, because we all said the same thing.
Everybody said the same thing. There was videos posted of some of our colleagues showing flies on everything.
Right. And then, so the Fantasy was in port last week after us, like the first,
Yes.
like all guests.
Yes,
cruise.
Sunday, I believe it
And
was.
it was all over social media. People putting napkins over their food because they couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
So when we were battling flies, I was getting super irritated, and you said, "Go get yourself a drink."
Right.
So don't tell me twice. So I got up and I went to the bar because there was this like Dole Whip type of drink.
And then like 30 minutes later, she still hadn't come back. And I'm sitting at the table battling flies over this food that's sitting on the table.
Okay, but I'm about to tell you why.
Let's go.
Again, day one. However, we were at the bar, or I was at the bar waiting. It took me 35 minutes to get served, and there wasn't that many people standing
No,
there.
there wasn't.
It was just chaos. And like somebody would make a drink and then they go disappear in the back for like 10 minutes.
Mhm.
So, and I was trying to be nice because, there's a lot of people there and I don't want to be that girl.
Right, and you know that the cast members, a lot of them, like we said, this was their first day on the island. So they're learning where things are, how things work. It was really a learning curve. So I guess making us the guinea pigs, and I get it, but you're making the media the guinea pigs, and there's going to be media who's going to put out the bad.
No, and then when I was standing there, this lady and like 8 of her friends cut me off right in front of me, and I almost went Detroit on her. But Scott's like, you can't. You're wearing a media badge.
I know. I walked up to her after like half an hour, like she said. I came up to her, and she was like, I'm so mad. I'm like, you have a media badge on. Just chill.
Still. So, yeah, I did say to her, like, you literally just cut in front of me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to shut up now.
And she laughed. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you're not.
So there was, so the ship was mostly media, but there was a few regular passengers who
Yeah,
actually.
there was travel
sailed.
agents. There
Travel
was
agents, yeah.
different people from different corporations. I don't think they were regular guests by
Yeah.
far.
But so, yeah, that happened with the drink. She got her drink eventually, but I was
hope
running
they had
to
the day they deserved.
I was running all the way to the other side of the island. Because they were doing a show over there, which was called a beach bash, but yet it was in a pavilion. It wasn't on the beach.
Right.
And it was with Mickey, or I'm sorry, not Mickey. It was Goofy, Pluto, Chip and Dale.
Yeah.
And they were doing games with the kids and having fun and such. And it was a good little area to fun. And it was covered. So if you're in the blistering sun, at least you could get out
But
the
it
sun
was
for
still hot under there.
Still really hot under there, but at least it wasn't direct sun. on
No,
the sand. So got there, recorded the show, did that. As we're walking back, there's a smoothie shop on the family side of the beach.
Which we didn't stop at.
There is probably, I would say, I saw at least probably 4 to 5 bars.
Did you see that
spread-
many?
Yeah, they're spread out throughout the island. So they start all the way from the other side of where the thing was all the way down to Serenity Bay.
I must have
was
just
places.
been out of sorts at
Yeah,
that
there
point.
was, I think there was 2 in the adult section, at least 3 in the family section. The one thing I will say, though, is on the bars, on the back end of the bars in the buildings, there's restrooms and like showers on the sides for you to wash the sand and such off your feet.
Yeah, that was nice.
Which at Castaway, if you go to the bathrooms there, it's like a major, large outhouse. And it's not a single one
Ew.
outhouse, but it's all outdoors. It's not, it's,
Oh, yeah, this was like they have updated bathrooms.
yes, these are buildings.
Current
with
nice
the,
bathrooms.
yes, and that was a lot nicer. Having the showers right there on the side of the building to wash your feet in the sand before you
Yeah,
go.
it's not to actually take a shower. It's to get the sand
Rinse
off
off.
of you before
Right.
you go.
Yeah, so that was a good thing.
So then we went to this show it was called Rush Junkanoo something or other.
Right.
I
So
wrote it
for
down.
those that don't know what Junkanoo is basically Mardi Gras in the Bahamas.
A Junkanoo celebration, maybe.
Something
I don't
like that. It's great though. The music, the
Yeah.
costumes, it's just a lot of fun.
So yeah, it's like Bahamian Mardi Gras.
Yes.
They come out in these elaborate costumes, dancing and music, and they come in like a whirlwind. They just keep coming and coming, and then before you know it, they're on their way back.
It's like a marching band because you hear them coming
Yes.
from far away. And they do. They march up to where they're going to perform. There's an area where you can actually make your own headpiece because the costumes are all made from cardboard that even the people wear that participate in this celebration.
Right.
So you can make your own headpiece that you can hear them coming from a long ways away. And there's
it was really,
and
really cool. The only bad part is we had to stand in the sun to see them. So by the time Junkanoo was over, Scott's like, I've had it. We are going to the water.
Yeah, Junkanoo was fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a great time, and if you have time to see it when you're there, make sure you go check it out. Because
right, and now mind you, we had already been exploring and covering stuff for a few hours, so this was like after 2:00, and we just decided to go. Research purposes, go to the beach, right?
Yeah, exactly. So walking to the beach. So there's actually two sections. So as you're walking to the beach, you'll see lounge chairs and such. Closer to where all the pavilions and stuff are, but then you go down some steps and you actually go closer to the water in the beach area. And the beach area compared to Castaway is humongous.
It's so much bigger.
So much bigger. So you won't have a problem finding a seat or an area to sit in, and people won't be right on top of you because it's so crowded like Castaway. So I did enjoy that. Now, we were on the Magic, the smaller ship, so there's less people there, but I could see if the Wish pulled in there's plenty of room still.
Should be, yeah.
I would think so. I didn't see any pictures of Fantasy's just a little
All
bit
I
smaller
saw
than
on
Wish.
social media was the flies. I didn't see anything.
So there's plenty of flies. So if you're a fly person,
if you love flies.
So
Anyway, I know we have Tiana's to talk about, and we are kind of really in here already. So.
We knew we were going to be going long today.
Right.
So sorry.
Okay, so I'll try to speed it up. So the beach itself, it was that soft pink sand
So nice.
that when you could reach down in the water and grab it and almost look like clay. It was so smooth.
And it basically disintegrated in your hand.
Yes, and the water itself was as clear as a swimming pool.
Clearest water. It's probably the most beautiful ocean water I've ever seen in my life.
Right, that beach between the pink sand and the clear water, better than Castaway. There was nothing in it, like no rocks, no shells, nothing to hurt your feet. Everything was nice and smooth.
The only other water I saw that was so pretty was Turks and Caicos.
Oh yeah, that was nice too.
That was nice, but this water, the beach, it was perfect. Honestly,
you could look past the flies.
Yeah, if you could get past the flies. So the beach area, we absolutely loved. There was nothing that needed to be changed about the beach.
Best part of the island was the beach.
Fantastic. The water was really warm.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of just walked right in, cooled off a little bit because it was a little bit cooler than the temperature, not by much.
But it was so hot we didn't care.
I didn't care, and we just sat there. And I'm one that I like to put my hands in the sand in the water and dig for shells or whatever I can find. And I did find something. One of the times I came up and I had a sand dollar.
He had a sand dollar.
So we weren't sure. It wasn't moving. It didn't look like the little, I don't even know what those are.
He's little tiny legs.
Little tiny
legs.
They weren't moving on the one I had. So Michele took it, and we didn't know if it was alive or if it was dead. But we held on to it for a little while. We kept it in the water a little bit in case.
I held it for a very long time and talked to it.
So I told Michele, I said, go find out. Go Google on your phone.
I didn't want to take him home if he was alive. He wasn't moving,
Right.
and I'm such a sucker for living things, animals, whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to take you home if you're alive.
Right.
So I got out and got on the chair, and I Googled to make sure what to look for, and he wasn't showing any of the signs.
No, but
so
then all of a sudden you looked at him.
I put him on my knee, and I was staring at him, talking to him like, if you're alive, like, speak now or forever hold your peace. And his little legs moved, and I screamed at you. I'm like, Scotty's alive.
So basically I had to get out of the water, come get the sand dollar, and take him out and bury him so that way he wouldn't.
I said, put him back where he was into the sand because I
Right.
didn't want someone else to grab him.
Right. And that's the first time I've ever seen one of those in the wild. I've seen them in
So
stores,
cool.
but I had never seen one.
Well,
that
yeah,
was
they
so-
sell them like a ton of them at like those beach
Every
gift
beach
shops
gift
and
shop.
stuff. But I'm so glad that I went and Googled because we didn't kill him. We put him back.
We didn't kill him at all. So
We didn't kill him at all.
No, we put him back in the water. He's happy.
I said bye.
She did say goodbye. So that was when I was talking earlier about her with Dr. Doolittle and the animals. That's what I was referencing, that she was talking to the
I'm
sand
like, oh,
dollar.
hi.
So one difference majorly about the water out there as opposed to Castaway is there's no nets to hold the aqua life from coming in. Now they do have boats patrolling, and they had jet skis on some of the out there.
They
Past the
do. So
buoys.
they have people like patrolling back and forth at a certain point, but there's no nets.
There's no nets. So I can assume they were watching to make sure nothing came into the area that could hurt us or give us enough time to get out if something was coming closer to where the people were swimming.
Now, I don't know. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't somebody tell you it was for sharks and barracuda?
Yes, I was told that by somebody that's what they were patrolling out there for, to make sure that no sharks or barracudas came in close. And there was at one time the boat that was out there past the jet ski was stopped in one area, and they were all staring in one area. So I don't know if there was something there, and they were waiting to see if it would turn around.
And then there's me. I'm like, I want to see what they're looking at. He's like, no, you don't.
No, because if they're looking at it, that means it could eat you, and you don't want that to come in here.
I want to go see.
So,
but yeah, they do have it patrolled very nicely. So.
And one thing else I'm going to say about the water, very high level of salt.
Oh,
in the
you
water.
float.
You float. You actually kind of have to force your body to not float if you don't want to float.
Even those that can't float. I can't float.
And you could there.
Yeah.
Easily.
It was a hard time staying in the water when I was like down on my knees. I kept getting pushed over because it was so. But I didn't. At that point, it was so hot and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. 2 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up for the beach. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
the beach and the water blow it away. Actually, if it wasn't for the flies, it'd probably be a great day.
So then we knew that it was going to be time. It was going to take time because I know from your stateroom to the actual beach, some people said it was taking them up to an hour, and we didn't want to get held back. So we decided we better start heading for the ship.
Yep.
So we got our stuff together, and we started heading towards the tram.
Right.
And we finally were able. They have one main merchandise store.
A major gift shop.
And we finally got to see in there. The reason we didn't get to see it when we first walked in was because there was a line of merchandise completely wrapped, people buying merchandise completely wrapped around the building.
Mm-hmm.
And then about an hour later, I forget who we ran into, and somebody said, I can't believe this. There's stuff on eBay already.
Right.
Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox for 1 second, then we're going to proceed. These people on the ship are travel agents, media, cast members, and there were some randoms thrown in there, too, because they did open up some tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. If you're on Disney's dime to do a job, shame on you to do personal shopping because that's not what you're there for.
No.
And I hope they start busting people for that.
I really hope they do because I am so tired of personal shoppers. I've seen them at media events and then they go buy stuff. And that's why we'll talk about the Tiana, but we weren't able to buy merchandise at the Tiana event because I think the personal shoppers, they didn't want them to be able to come in, buy stuff and sell it.
Yeah, it's garbage. I just feel for ethical reasons you should not do that.
No, and I lose all respect for somebody in the media who does that because
absolutely.
You're showing your true colors that it's all about how I can make a buck.
Or how much I can get.
Yep, and I'm going to get this stuff before other people can get it, and I'm going to sell it for a lot more than what it costs, and I'm going to make money. And it's like, I get it. It's a business of some sort. It's no different than having sports memorabilia or something like that and selling it on eBay, but these people are ridiculous.
Somebody told me, we've seen friends in the past few days, so I can't remember who, they saw the pineapple sippy cup on eBay for $125. It was like an $11 cup.
Oh my God, you could go on one of those websites for international and probably buy them for $quarter a piece.
Outrageous. Anyway, so we didn't really buy any souvenirs. We bought our friend Chuck a tank top because he asked us to.
We got a magnet.
Oh, we got a magnet.
Because we get a magnet every place we visit.
That's our cheap souvenir.
I know where that magnet is. I'm going to have to find it.
It's probably with Chuck's shirt.
No, I took it out of the bag.
Anyway, so we were hot and miserable and kind of damp still, and we hiked it to the tram. And
it took a lot longer to get back than
it took forever to get back.
Yeah, I don't know if the driver was just maybe new at driving and he was really slow. One thing I noticed on the way back, and Michele was talking about how it looked desert-like along the tram path.
It looks total desert.
Is I noticed like the trees and such that were growing into the ground, you could see where the route was surrounded by rock. Because the way they carved out the pathway for the cars to drive through, you could actually see the side.
Yeah, it did look very desolate. Now they have like a walking trail and you can rent bikes, but I would not because there's nothing to see. As far as like you can tell they really made that road for just transporting people back and forth. But so we got to the tram and I was pretty miserable. And then and then we got off the tram finally. And then there's that walk back.
And there's that walk. And that walk seems like it just gets long. It's like the never-ending hallway in the Haunted Mansion.
Yes, it just keeps going and going and going.
And again, there is no quick way to do it. You just have to one foot in front of the other and get there eventually.
Is this pier actually stretching?
Yeah.
Or
no,
is it your imagination?
It's not your imagination. It's that long.
Okay, so here's the part that was that I'm probably going to complain about more than the flies. That walk back. When you're going to the island, you're excited, you're on adrenaline, so excited. But after spending a whole day in the scorching heat with no shade on the island, fighting it out with flies, waiting 40 minutes for a drink, going wherever. I was irritated on my way back because we worked so hard, and then I'm like, I was just tired. And we don't get to sleep a lot on these trips, so I think I was a little agitated, so maybe ignore that part. But we're walking back. My shorts are wet from the beach. I'm getting chub rub because of my shorts. And, like, I was miserable. So
chub rub, something I never thought would be said in this podcast, but chub rub is
chub rub.
added.
Women, some men know too. Just like when your clothes are wet, they chafe.
It's funny because you talk about when we were getting off the ship the first time to go there, and we're walking. We're like, hey, if you go to Disney, you're gonna walk 7-8 miles in a day. So what's a half a mile to walk to get? It's not a big deal. By the end of the day, I was like, it's a big deal because we were just exhausted from being in the sun. Sun, of course, drains your energy. Being in the water, then running back and forth on the island to cover the events and such. We were
the island is big. Keep that in mind. There's a ton of walking from the time you get off the ship till you get back is walk.
So be ready.
Yes. So we were walking on the never-ending pier, and we were like, they need to do something. Put as far as like halfway through, or put a canopy.
Something.
Have cooling towels like they do on Castaway. Have the little like Dixie cups of water. Something, because it was too long of a walk back.
Yeah, they didn't have the water. They never had the cooling towels. We never saw those anywhere. No. The water wasn't until you were right at the ship.
And by that time, you were, it reminded me of like being in the desert, like crawling across the desert, because, we weren't crawling, but it's that same feeling, like I just need to get there.
And my thought, of course, was, okay, if you're on the island all day and you've got little ones, that maybe not in a stroller, but they're walking, but they get tired really quick. You're going to end up carrying a toddler.
Get tired really quick.
But imagine if you have, say, 2 or 3 kids, or even one kid. You got a diaper bag, possibly you're carrying a child. They're wet. They're cranky because they've been in the sun all day. They're tired. They're hungry because they didn't eat because of all the flies. You're just trying to get, and then all of a sudden, guess what it could do? Just pour down rain. And there is no
There's
place.
Shelter.
There is no shelter. There is no coverage when you're walking across that pier. So I think it needs to be addressed somehow. They need something to cover it, that maybe not the entire way, maybe just the middle area where it gets a little bit wider, because they have like a circle area where you can kind of pull over to the side to take pictures or whatever.
Yeah, and from what I heard, because of the feedback they got, when the Fantasy pulled into a port, halfway through they did have a little water station.
Good.
And I don't think it would, not that I'm an Imagineer, but I don't think it would be that hard for them to put a canopy up midway. Just something for people to get a little bit of shade.
No, and one of our friends, Jeff, made the comment, if they can't get the tram on the pier, why don't we just put one of those moving sidewalks? And Disney could advertise it as the longest moving sidewalk ever. Come ride the longest moving sidewalk at Disney's Lookout Key.
So we have a video and photos across our social media from Lookout Key. We have pictures of the never-ending pier. We have all of it. So if you guys can't get a visual by our description, you can go on our socials and find it.
Definitely. So that night, we finally get back to the ship. We had to take showers because we were both really sweaty and hot from being outside.
Misery.
All day. So we both get cleaned up. We had the show that night. We ended up skipping the show because by the time we got back on the ship and got cleaned up, we just decided we're not going to do the show tonight, which was fine. That's I think when we went and played trivia.
Yeah, I think it was that night, and that was fine. And we really were on the fence about going to dinner too.
Right.
We were thinking of going to the walk-up. So because Scott was looking at the menus before we even got to the restaurant because of me mostly. So I could kind of plan ahead. Because when you sit down, the waiters kind of want to know what you want.
Yeah, because they're trying to get you through because it does take a while for them to serve all the different courses.
Yeah. So we ate at the restaurant that night. The next day on the ship was media coverage.
Yes.
We had a couple of things to go to for media. Like there's a panel in the morning and then there was something in the afternoon. But we did get off the boat really quick because in Nassau they redid the whole port that was over there. So instead of getting totally yelled at when you get off the ship, there's a fenced-in area to make it a little easier. Yeah,
but there was another reason we also got off the ship at Nassau, and that's because the Wish had pulled in right next to us.
I forgot about that.
So, and the way it was, so the Magic was closer to the side where they couldn't pull in another ship, and the Wish was more on the inside. So they actually were parked side by side with just a little bit of a walkway between the pier area between the two of them. And so we wanted to get off and get some pictures of the two ships side by side. So there you had Disney's oldest and smallest ship next to Disney's largest and newest ship side by side there, which was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and I put video on our Facebook and all that good stuff, and on our Instagram because I thought it was really, really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. So, and then that night, we came back on the ship. We had a media type of reception type of thing, and then when we were leaving that, we were pulling out of the port, and the Wish was still. We went first. We were both going to be leaving, but we went first. And the Wish and the Magic were trading songs on their horn, and people were waving to each other. I may have cried a little bit because it was just so cliche, magical. The different horns going back and forth, and like the camaraderie among Disney fans, because everybody was smiling and waving and woohooing at each other, and we stayed on that deck until it was almost completely.
So we were done, and it was one of those Disney moments where you connected with everybody between those two ships. You get Disney, you understand Disney, and to hear those music on those horns being played, it kind of gets you. It gives you that little bit of a boost in your body that's like, oh my gosh,
that's so cool. And then just for the record too, going out on that deck to see the Wish, even when we were on the top level of the Magic, the Wish is still about 3 or 4 stories higher.
Something like that, yeah. It's a lot.
We were trying to see what movie they had on their funnel vision as opposed to ours, like the comparison back and forth. And then they have the roller coaster.
It's not the Aquaduct, but it's I can't think of what it's called on that one.
I can't remember. But yeah, so it was really cool to see that, and our 3 days went by really fast.
It did. So that night, like Michele said, we had dinner and such.
Animator's Palette was that night,
which is a really cool restaurant actually. If you've never been there, the walls start out with like sketch work of the Disney classics animations, and they become colorized throughout the dinner.
Right. And dessert is always good at these restaurants. I've never had a bad dessert.
No.
So there was that. And then we ended up, we usually go walk the deck in the evening, but we didn't. We just kind of got ready to go because Disney wanted us off the ship first thing in the morning to catch the Brightline. And they moved our time earlier. And there's good reason, because we had to get to the Brightline station, then Brightline back to MCO to the Contemporary to get our media credentials and check in at the media center. Then we went back home just to
like 45 minutes.
For 45 minutes, just to I forget to see the dogs.
Drop off our bags. I think did we change a little? I can't remember if we changed.
I think I wore the same thing. I just put extra deodorant on.
So we freshened up a little bit.
Freshened up.
Because
I put my contacts in.
There was an event at Universal we were invited to that day. And originally we were going to try to make it, and there was just we did not have the time with the schedule Disney had us on. There was just no way we could run over there and do that on top of everything else we had to do. So because we had to be back at Epcot by 5:00.
Right.
So we had to go get Contemporary, get our credentials, run home, drop off our stuff, see the dogs, see the kids, freshen up a little bit, get back in the car, drive over to the Epcot, and get back to the American Pavilion where the first event was.
It was very busy.
It was very
That day was like running around like a chicken.
It was the only piece we had was sitting on the Brightline for the 2 hours and 40 minutes, whatever.
And I think you even said that to me when we were on the train. You're like, enjoy it now.
Yeah, this is all you're getting for the rest of the day.
Till Tuesday, this is it.
Yeah, because Monday was the day we were dreading, but let's stick on Sunday for a minute here. So the first thing we did was when we got over to the American Pavilion, they had the George Bush Portraits of Courage, Commander's Tribute to American Warriors, which is his paintings of different heroes of the military that had been injured in battle, so they may have lost a leg, they may have an arm, something. Then he painted images of all these people, and they're hung around inside the American Pavilion.
Yeah, and this was George W. Bush.
Yes, George.
The younger Bush.
Yes.
So these were all painted by him, which was pretty cool. We got to hear Voices of Liberty sing. They did military tributes.
They brought in some of the military band from, I think they said Jacksonville.
Was that where it was from?
Yeah, the players who came in and played the music.
It was very patriotic.
Very patriotic. And then there was a gentleman who works for George W. Bush, helping him run a foundation that helps military veterans if they're having issues, if they just need somebody to talk to.
Resources for those who come back from war, which is very needed in this country.
It is. And that's one thing this gentleman who was there, he said that Laura and George Bush make it such a priority that this needs to be done, that they created this foundation to help those people.
So it's a good thing.
It's definitely a good thing.
So we got to do that, and they didn't have Oh, they had little finger food back there, but nothing that we would eat.
Nothing major.
I think I had a little tiny piece of avocado toast. It was like a 1-bite thing.
Something like that. It was
I
just
had
little.
some sort of punch, which was good.
It was just little hors d'oeuvres there because we knew we weren't going to be there long. They just wanted to show us the art exhibit that was there, tell us hear the music, talk.
And they were going to feed us over at Communicore Hall.
So that was our next. So that was our next journeys. We had to walk from there to Communicore.
We had to go all the way to the back, then we had to go back up to the front.
All the way back up to the front of Communicore Hall. Which by the time we got there, everybody was waiting to get in. They hadn't even let people in there yet.
Yes.
So we all went in there, and it was like somebody opened the floodgates and just.
It was a stampede of people with their cameras up in the air.
Because nobody had seen it.
Nobody had seen it. So it is open to the public now, but the difference is they had banners and food stands up for the media and different tables and chairs.
Right.
I guess when the media part was over, it's very bare in there.
Oh,
now.
is it? See, we haven't gone back since we were there.
No, people are saying they're comparing it to like a food court at the mall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very bare. They made it fancy for us, and I thought, oh, this is kind of cool, and then they took it away.
Do they have a Sparrow?
No, you can't get pizza. I don't know. We're gonna have to go over there and look for ourselves. But it was the heat index was over 100 that day, and there was like all kinds of warnings from the news. So it was nice to be in the air conditioning for a few, but. They had, we were supposed to be eating, and they had different food stands inside and outside.
Right.
No flies, which was nice.
No, they've learned how to deal with flies at Walt Disney World, so maybe they need to send some of those people to Lookout Key to fix that issue. But we did, like Michele said, there was like finger food, so there was like barbecue chicken sliders, macaroni and cheese, chicken fingers, but then there was a little more adventurous type foods
that we don't eat.
Lots of desserts around.
I love dessert.
At the areas. The big thing we were there for, though, was to see the debut of the new Encanto show.
Right. And so all this stuff is available for you to go see now.
Yes.
I kind of want to go back and check it out without all the media there because I think that it was harder to get a fair assessment of everything.
It was. The Encanto show, we didn't know what to expect.
No.
They really hadn't told us a lot about it. The show was cute. It was a good little show. It's great for little kids.
It's more of a kids interactive type of show. It's not a production per se. No. It's just music. There's a band that plays for a while, and then some Encanto characters come out, and then they play stuff from the movie, which is nice. Mm-hmm. So I would like to go back and see it again because okay, here's my honest thought. I don't feel that I can give it a proper review because of the fact that we had been on little sleep and on the go since Wednesday.
Right.
And and it was so darn hot. And when you're tired and you're hot and you're just at that level of exhaustion.
And to add to the Encanto show, so we had all been camped out with our spot to watch the show
here we go.
For like a half an hour before the show started. And then 2 minutes before the show starts, they're like, oh, you have to move over 10 feet back and you have to open up the whole center because characters aren't come up there. And they moved everybody around. Well, everybody had all their stuff set up to record the show and do all this stuff. And all of a sudden Disney decided, no, that we weren't lined up properly and that we needed to fix everything. So it kind of put a negative taste in our mouths.
Because, okay, so we have... The media is in separate groups.
Yes.
We are in the top tier, the fan site.
Correct.
We had like the gold badges, like for the land part. We were special.
Right.
So that I'm gonna make a bold statement, but here it comes. So our level of colleagues that we work with, we don't mess around. When we know a show is starting in a half hour, it was all of us that were up there first and waiting in the heat.
Lined up. We don't try to cut each other off.
Nope.
Whoever's up there first gets the center, and then we all just work our way off.
But we always make room for each other.
Yes.
It's not like the influencer side. It's every man for themselves, and we're not really like that. And actually, I didn't really see any quote-unquote influencers up there even bothering. They were eating and drinking.
They were eating and drinking, recording from air. But like Michele said, our people who are on the same level as us with the fan sites, we all get along. We all talk to each other. We all try to help each other.
Respect each other.
We respect each other. If you're trying to film it, I'm not going to put my camera next to yours. I'm not going to be loud when you're trying to film. I'm not going to be doing all this stuff for the other people, and they do the same thing for us.
Right. And I mean, or if I get a picture and somebody else doesn't, I'm like, here, take mine.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, there's only a few that I don't really conversate with.
Right.
But
we still would never be disrespectful. If they're trying to record
we're not a-holes. We don't do that.
No. So, I mean, for the most part, we all get along.
So we did that. And then when we got shoved to the side right when it started, that was frustrating. Yeah. And I know me and someone else from another site, we kind of got pushed out of the way. Scott's tall, so he was able to record the show. I was doing like a live feed, and I got to the point that I shut my live feed off because there was people standing in front of me and I couldn't see. Now, mind you, I'd already staked that spot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so a little bit of sour grapes there. So that's why I need to go back.
You're entitled to it, though. I mean, and that's why I think we should go back and try to get a better video, try to get better coverage. Maybe it won't be as crowded, obviously. So
no, and I think so. I get like really crazy when I'm covering media events.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You can say it.
No, I did. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm so driven to get as much coverage as I can, because I really, and I've said it a million times, I really value that Disney has us on this list.
Right.
And I feel like we're not there like some, to see how much free crap we can get or as much free food or bragging rights. That's not what we're there for. And I think that that's what I get myself all twisted up about.
I think so. I think that's a lot of what it is that you're just doing it because you want to do a good job. You want Disney to invite you to the next event. So if you do a good job at this event, chances are you'll be invited to the next.
And I think they know I do a good job by now because I fill my Instagram stories and Facebook stories and Facebook Lives and video. I mean, I saturate it. I don't, like, if they say, oh, you can just post 10 pictures, I post 100.
You post 100. You don't believe in just you don't believe in the bare minimum.
Oh, heck no. So I think that's why I get all crazy and stressed out at events, because if I can't get my followers the best coverage possible, even when I plan for it, it kind of makes me mad. So, but it was very hot. And at the end, they were going to have separate viewing for Luminous.
Correct.
But our PR rep basically said those of us who were on the cruise, because there was only a handful of us on the cruise, said you don't have to go watch Luminous if you don't want to, because we had been go.
No, I think it was more offering for the people who were flown in from out of town and such to be able to enjoy Luminous. They had a little dessert.
Yeah, because the on-land media portion of this for Epcot and Tiana's, huge. They media from everywhere. Now on the ship, it was much smaller. I'd say not even a quarter of the people that they had for the land part of it.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, so we decided to check out and go home and take a much needed shower because we had to be back at the Contemporary at 7 a.m. sharp. So we got up at like 5:30.
Yep. We had to leave our house by 6:20 to make sure we were there on time at the Contemporary, because we had to board a bus that was taking us to Magic Kingdom, even though it was right next door. But they were taking it backstage.
Yeah.
So we had to be there to catch our bus to be able to be there on time. So
yeah, it was just a lot. I'm tired thinking about it. But so when we got there with time to spare, got on the bus, went backstage. When we they let us off. They remind you no pictures backstage, which is pretty cool. We saw the parade floats.
It's just so cool to see backstage. I mean, you see where the stilt walkers put their stilts on. You see where the parade floats are stored.
We saw the Christmas stuff and we saw a Halloween float. It was really cool. But that's not why we were there. They were doing a big cast member picture in front of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and only the fan sites were invited to see that. So there was a handful of us.
Yes.
And Jeff Foley was there to kind of commemorate things, and they did a big group photo, and they just basically let us be there for it. And then they fed us breakfast at the Golden Horseshoe.
And Jeff came in and spoke to everybody, because it was just the fan sites who were at the breakfast thing.
Yes.
Jeff went to every table and talked to every single one of us in there and just thanked us all for our work, are willing to cooperate with them and put out the information and share it with our followers and get the hype up for the different things that they do. So that really, of everything, that was probably the greatest reward we had. Just
in his title, he's in charge of parks and...
He's Walt Disney World's president.
Okay.
So he's in charge of everything here in Orlando. He answers to Josh.
Okay.
That's his boss.
I knew he was up there.
Yeah.
I was just trying to explain to the folks at home.
Yeah, so he is the main guy here.
And he's nice as can be.
Nicest, most humble guy you will ever speak.
Very smiley and sweet.
Always. And he's always been such a pleasure to talk to. But it makes
validates you a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. To have somebody at his title and his role come up to you and say, thank you so much for all you guys do for us.
And here's me. I'm like, thanks for inviting us.
I know. That's what it is. But it's those kind of things that makes all the hard work and all the heat we work in and the issues we deal with worth it. When somebody like him who comes around, he could send anybody to, hey, go tell him you're happy with what. No, he comes around. You can tell he's genuine when he talks to us.
Yeah, and it was just like I said, a small handful of us. So that was very nice. And then after breakfast, they had us go to Hall of Presidents for like a panel for the new things that were coming.
But before that, we got to take a photo op with Wendell and Big Al in their newer costumes.
Their newer scarf and
I
hat.
guess, yeah, it wasn't a big costume, but yeah, we got to do a photo op with Big Al and Wendell from the Country
And
Bears.
stupid me, I never even thought about that they were going to make an announcement about the Country Bears when we got a picture of the Bears. I never put it together.
You never thought about that?
No, I didn't. I thought this is all about Tiana's.
Well, no, I knew what we were getting ready to go was to a showcase, and they were going to showcase everything that was coming to Walt Disney World, I think for the summer more than...
Yeah, because they announced the Country Bear opening day, which is the 17th of July. That was breaking news. They showed concept art for Voyage of the Little Mermaid, the show at the studios that they are going to be revamping.
Which I'm excited about because the show director, James Silson, who's doing The Little Mermaid, is also the same one who did Happily Ever After. He put that out. He's done.
So it's going to be good.
He also did, What's This? Jack Skellington's show
that's a good
at Hollywood Studios. So this guy, everything he does.
He knows how to put on a show.
He does. Him and his brother both work for Disney. So he's the show director, though, that's doing these shows. And he's a great guy. And every time.
I can't wait to see it.
I know. I can't wait to see it either because I know if he's doing it, it's going to be great.
Fantastic.
So I'm excited. And he actually started out as a puppeteer, so he likes to use puppets and such in some of his shows. So that's
I'm
why
excited. I can't wait. So we weren't expecting those type of announcements, really. And then when they started talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Anika Noni Rose came out, and who is Tiana herself, and she sang the new song for the attraction. The last scene in Tiana's Bayou Adventure has a brand new song, and it was that song.
Yes, and she sang it. And then the band who played with her, I was trying to look it up really quick, and I can't, but the gentleman who came out who helped arrange the music and write it and all that, he's actually one of the main members of Maroon 5.
Yes, I can't think of his name right now
I'm trying
either.
to find it really quick. If you want to talk, I'll try to find it.
But I think it starts with an R.
That was PJ something.
I don't know. Yeah, we're with it. But in addition to her singing, which was very cool, we got to talk to Sharita Carter was up there, who is one of the main Imagineers. She did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway also. And she's done a lot of cool stuff, and she's a very nice lady. So she was talking about that. And then there was another Imagineer up there. Just explaining how they actually went to New Orleans and tried to do everything as authentic as they could.
Right.
And we got to see some footage of that.
Yes.
And then after the presentation and after the song and all that, they were releasing us to go back and go on the ride.
Right. It was actually PJ Bourne. I looked it up. So he is one of the main members.
Since you don't listen to me.
I think he's the keyboardist from Maroon 5, but he was there, and he's the one that helped write the song and put it together.
Super talented dude.
So it was great to hear him. But like Michelle said, then we were released to go back to Tiana's and finally ride this ride that... Now, Michelle and I had never seen any ride video. We hadn't looked at anybody's... Even the video Disney sent us that we put out on our channels,
we never
watched it. So we had no idea what to expect. We didn't want to go in with any
preconceived
thoughts.
notions of what we expected or didn't expect. I really wanted to, in order to give you guys a true opinion and review, I wanted to see it with fresh eyes, not something that I've already seen.
Because if you see a video and there's something wrong in the video, then you're going to instantly have that negative thought. But if you see something great, you're also going to have that, it's positive. And we wanted it to just be our real review. And if you guys know us by now, we don't really hold back. Think about the flies. We tell you how we feel about stuff, and we might sugarcoat it a little bit, but we're going to tell you how we really feel, because I never want somebody to come back to us and say, you guys said this was awesome and it sucked and you guys ruined my vacation.
Yeah, we don't ever want to be responsible for that.
Right.
So we went over to the attraction, and again, this was another high heat day. It was all over the news for telling people to stay hydrated, and they were good about giving us water. There was a media center over at the Contemporary with water and snacks.
Yeah, and they always had water and Powerade everywhere we went for us.
So Disney was very mindful of all of us that day because it was so hot. So we went back there, and they had content gathering locations. They had photos with Lewis.
Right. And Tiana.
Yeah.
I think was over
Yeah, she did. I never made it over to her, though.
No, we never. I saw her because when we saw her, she was actually taking pictures with Anika Noni Rose.
Yes.
Which was kind of cool to see that. I think we have some pictures.
I have video of that on social media.
So that was kind of cool to see them. So the first time we went to get in line for the ride, though, the ride went down.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to sidebar. We're going to bookmark this for 1 second. Okay, so what I did. Okay, ready? So what I did here.
Why are you whispering?
I don't know, because I'm talking gossip. what I did hear
You're on a microphone recording.
from other people was that the ride was breaking down a lot.
Yes.
And people were waiting for like the cast member previews. People were waiting hours and hours.
Right.
And I thought, oh, well, they'll have their stuff together by the media.
You would think so.
No. And even when AP previews started on the 12th, people were still waiting 3 hours, and not because the line was that long, but because there was something wrong.
Right.
So we only had to wait. It broke for about a half hour.
Yeah, we were actually, so the ride went down, and they're like, okay, if everybody wants to get on the line, we'll let you know when it's back up and running.
I didn't want to go back out in the heat. We were in the air-conditioned section.
Right, but so we go back out, and we were in the courtyard that you're in after you got off the ride or before you got on the ride, there where the store used to be in the bathrooms and such. And we're all sitting there in the content locations, and there's Imagineers talking, and you can get pictures with Lewis, like Michele said. And then we're all standing around, we're all just talking, and all of a sudden we just start seeing our colleagues going by on the ride. It's like, and we all just like beelined it to the
we're out.
line. We're out, and we all got in line, and we were all headed back. And that time we did get to ride it.
With a camera, so the reason that the line was taking longer is you put your cell phone on a mount that they provided, and did your reaction through the ride, which I think that we need to at least post the part where we go down and get soaked.
Yeah, we may have to edit it down a little bit because
they don't need to see us for the whole thing, but I think from the hill, and then when we got stuck at the end, we totally talked about it.
Yeah,
so that's a good.
Maybe we could just do it from that area, like when you're going up the hill, the final lift hill side before you come down, like you used to with Splash. You see Mama Odie and things like that in there. So
I think that's pretty cool. So we got on, and we had a light in our eyes because of the mount.
Made it very hard to see in the areas because the ride is very dark on the inside.
It's very dark.
Yes.
When they call it a dark ride, it's not dark like scary. It's just dark.
It's just really
lighting.
dark, like you can't see anything. It's that dark.
No, and for me, like I said, I wanted to go in with no chip on my shoulder about anything. I mean, I knew that it was breaking down or whatever, but I'm like, I'm not going to pay attention.
But
to
you know what? That happens with every ride. I mean, in every park. And sadly, it happens, but it does. Until they start really putting these rides through a lot of rigorous testing, they don't know. And I guess this is the best way to find out what's wrong with it.
I guess.
Before it opens to the public.
On the 28th, it opens to the public.
Right.
So I'm hoping by the time they have a bunch of people back there that they have it together.
And it's going to be virtual queue when it first opens.
It is.
Correct?
It is. So back to the ride. Oh, gosh, where to start? So I love the animatronics.
Yes.
I love the music.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The animatronics were fantastic.
Oh, my gosh. So to watch their mouths actually move with the words they're saying.
And the smooth movements of their arms and
everything.
such. Yeah.
And it looks just like the cartoon image is alive.
So I read somewhere months and months ago that they used the same technology as they made the shaman. Over at Animal Kingdom. You know how the shaman looks alive?
Yes.
And the movements of the arms are very flawless.
Yeah, it's very fluid.
Yes. So it's like that. And I didn't even realize until after we wrote it that a couple of the animatronics' mouths didn't move, or the end scene when we went back for the AP preview, like Tiana's arms weren't moving. I guess because we didn't do any spoilers, we didn't know the difference.
No, because we're still looking at everything almost for the first time.
Yeah, so we didn't even notice until like afterwards, until someone watched a video and like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening?
So they still got a lot of stuff to work out, but there is a lot of moving parts to this ride. And I know there's a lot of people who are they're not happy with certain scenes because it's a little bit dark or there's nothing there that
there's some empty space.
But I think it's because you're going through the bayou. In the bayou, it's not always stuff going on. So there's times where it's going to slow down, and then there's times where it's going to pick up, and then it's going to slow down, and then it's going to pick up.
But you're not bored. So the areas that are a little bit less interactive, you're not bored because you see other things coming, ahead of you.
Right.
I'm going to say that the only thing I didn't care for was how wet you get now.
You get much more wet. And what's weird is, so the wettest I got was actually when we sat in the second row on our point of view camera ride. Me and you rode it again later that day. Rode the front row, I didn't get as wet.
I did. It was like someone dumped a bucket of water in.
And then when we rode it for the AP preview the other day, I didn't get as wet, and I was in the front row for that one as well.
Well, I ducked, and I was wearing a hat.
But remember, so when we rode it the second time on the media day, I was soaked. I looked like I just stepped out of the shower. My hair was all jacked up. Everything was gone. Then when we rode it the other day, when we went for the AP preview, I said to use my hair messed up. You said no, it hardly even got wet. So
it's very strange, but the water level is very high.
Very high.
There's a lot of like sloshing around in there. The water level is high. So, I'm not an Imagineer, but I'm guessing that is why there's more opportunities to get wet, because you get wet around corners, little dips. I mean, there's constantly water coming into the log.
And you'll see the water on the side of the ride itself where it goes up into areas where I never saw ride water go into that area before.
No.
So yeah, I think there's just too much water, and I'm not sure why. And some people have said the sensors are off, and it could be maybe there's too much water in that. Maybe
I'm thinking it needs to be a little less water.
I think maybe they need certain water for certain things and less water in certain areas. So they're gonna have to figure that out. Which again, they have to test it and they have to figure out what it will work.
And people were worried that it wasn't going to be like a big splash like Splash Mountain. It's worse.
Oh, it's worse. You get a lot more wet. Now, thankfully, it was so hot those days, we dried quickly.
The only thing that bothered me is that we were at an event and we still had a dinner to go to, and my hair got wet.
Yeah, so originally, after we did Tiana's in the afternoon and such, there was supposed to be a soiree. That was going to soiree, however you say it. It was going to take place in Frontierland, and there were signs all over the park that day. Frontierland would be closing at 5:00 that day.
Mm-hmm.
Big Thunder was closing at 4:30, so that whole area was going to be our outdoor party, dinner, whatever. Well, Florida has a thing with weather and storms, and there were storms moving in. So
with the heat, storms roll in very fast.
Right. So they moved us to the Contemporary for our after-hours party that night.
But normally when so this is another thing that people trolled me about, because I posted pictures of the party at the Contemporary because they had a band and such. Yeah. And people are like, well, they don't have big parties like this for the opening of other rides. Yes, they do. Because we've been at them.
Yeah.
At Guardians, there was a big party outside in front of Guardians. Tron, they closed Tomorrowland. We were at that party.
50th anniversary, they closed Tomorrowland for that stuff also.
They did. Toy Story Land, that was a whole party.
Galaxy's Edge party.
Oh, God, yes. So whoever said that out there, you're wrong.
They don't always have them indoors, but it was because it was going to rain. The party was not meant to be indoors.
No, it was supposed to be at the attraction, but Florida Weather had another idea.
Yes. So for anybody who says they don't do this, you're wrong. They do this
every single time.
Yes. So sometimes I just think it's people who are bitter about one thing, so they're just going to make everything look negative.
All over everything.
Yeah, and that's not the truth. So the party was fun. We were so tired at that point, though. We kind of all we were with some of our other colleagues. We sat in the lobby.
Now, these are the cruise people.
Yes.
So these are the people that didn't just start the day before. We started Wednesday.
Yeah, so we were...
And this was Monday night.
Yeah, we were really tired by that point. We hadn't slept the night before much because we got home late and we had to get up so early, like we had every day.
But they had food. They had beignets. I had 4 beignets.
Oh, my God, those beignets were so good.
Oh, my gosh.
Don't ever put a chafing dish of beignets out and let people serve themselves.
Oh, heck no, because it's like I started with 1, then I went back and I got more, and I ended up eating 4.
And then they had them with ice cream right there.
Like
where
coffee
you could get
ice cream.
Yeah, so you could get beignets and coffee ice cream at the same area, which never had a line. And it was like, this was paradise. I could have just sat at all night long.
I ate more beignets than I did regular food.
I don't think I ate much regular food
Me
at all.
either.
The lines were really long, and none of it really...
They had like a chicken and rice type of thing. Then I ate the vegetarian version.
I remember they had a vegetarian.
It was like vegetarian gumbo, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what gumbo is, but I think that's what it was.
Like a big stew.
Maybe, but it had rice in it.
They're stewing. Yeah, that's supposed to be in gumbo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
Supposed to be shrimp, sausage, rice.
It was like fake meat and rice, basically. Yeah. But them beignets.
The beignets were great.
So I'm really excited when they open the beignet stand when the attraction opens, because I will be there getting some.
And I hope they taste as good as those ones did.
They were fantastic.
Because Disneyland beignets are better than Disney World beignets.
Disneyland food in general is better than Walt Disney World.
Right. But if these beignets if they can make these beignets taste the way they did at the party that night, we're going to have that beignet booth is going to be busy.
It's going to be very busy.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
Hopefully they'll have mobile order.
Oh my gosh, we're going to mobile order beignets all day.
All day, every day. You're going to Magic Kingdom? I need beignets.
I need beignets.
Hopefully they do the different flavors of them too, like they do in Disneyland.
Well, let's get them going with this.
Get them going. Why is it not open? People are AP previewing.
I know. I've had people ask me, is a beignet place open? Not yet.
Not yet.
So again, all this opens to the public on the 28th.
Right.
AP previews are still happening this week. Not every day. You have to look at MDE.
Yeah, so this is Monday, so there's tomorrow, Tuesday has them, and then Thursday has them.
And then that's it.
And then that's it. That's been scheduled as of right now. Wednesday, for some reason, didn't have AP preview. We do have a reservation for tomorrow morning, so I'm going to wake up and try to see if I can get us on Tiana's again. So fingers crossed we'll be able to get another reservation. We can go ride it again.
And also, before we wrap up, I wanted to mention that you said that we were lucky to get a AP preview last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And we took our younger son with us. Now, I was very I wanted to pick his brain somewhat because he grew up with Splash Mountain.
Right.
Loved it. Both boys love Splash Mountain. They never saw Song of the South. They don't care about that stuff. It was Zippity Doo Dah and the Rabbit and the Bear.
This was a fun ride.
It was just fun. So, but he also, Princess and the Frog is one of his favorite movies.
Right.
So I knew that there was going to be a divide there, as far as his feelings. So he goes on the ride and he gets off and I said, what'd you think? He goes, wait, I have to think about it for a few minutes. So he made me wait until we got all the way over by Pecos Bill.
Right.
And I said, he's like, do you want to know? I'm like, I've been waiting. And the first word he said was underwhelming. And I was like, what do you mean underwhelming? And he said that Splash Mountain seemed more fun and interactive. There was never not anything to look at. And if you think about it, he's right. They had all the animals. I missed the bunny that's sweeping the porch and the one with the flowers. And, they had stuff everywhere.
Right.
Now, this one does not have stuff everywhere.
No. And I think the biggest problem Disney fans are going to have is comparing the two.
Right.
And like me and you said on our review video we put out shortly after we wrote it, you really can't. Yes, they're in the same building. Yes, they're using the same carts and it's still a water ride system. But just like you can't compare Wishes to Happily Ever After, they're both fireworks shows that are set by the castle.
Right,
But
and he didn't hate it.
No, and I'm not saying he hates it. I'm just saying that people are automatically going to compare the two, and you can find a lot of pluses. Splash Mountain we had for, 30-some years?
Excuse me.
But
yeah, his point, the underwhelming part, was too many bare areas.
Yes.
So he liked the ride, but he says that he thought they could have done more.
And he didn't like the screens, I thought also.
He didn't like the screens.
Which I didn't have a problem. I thought the screens were perfect because a lot of the screens dealt with, like, when you see the fireflies and them flying in, they'd be
down to frog size, and you see.
Yes.
I don't want to ruin anything, but anyway.
That's one thing I don't think people realize either, because nobody knows the story of the ride. So do you want to tell them the story really quick?
Okay, really quick. The ride takes place a year after the movie ends. Tiana and Prince Naveen are throwing a big party at their house, and they don't have a band. So they put Louis the Gator in charge of finding a band, and you're helping them find musicians.
Right.
Is the whole thing.
In the bayou.
In the bayou.
Yes. So that's what you're doing. So as you're going through the ride, you're hearing different animals play music with the way they do it. And then so you'll see like Tiana and Louis looking at the band, listening to them to see if they go. And then the final scene is when you'll see what happens, what band gets chosen at the party.
The last party scene is the most amazing scene. Some think it's too busy going on. And I wish the log slowed down a little bit because there's so much to see.
But isn't that funny? So people complain there's not enough in the ride.
But
then the end has so much scene. Then they're like, oh, it's too much. It's like, okay, there's no happy medium. And people are going to be, you know what? Take it for what it is. It's a ride at Disney based on a movie. It's good. I'm not saying it's the greatest ride ever. I'm not saying it's better than
But they did a decent
Splash.
job. I
liked the ride. We went and talked to Tarita afterwards, and we told her that we enjoyed the ride. And thank you for all the work.
So we got to see inside the store where you could pick up photos and such.
Yes.
And Sharita Carter was there, who was the main Imagineer for this attraction, and we made an effort to go over and speak with her.
We were supposed to leave, and we said, no, we want to go talk to her.
We're going to go. Yeah, we instead of going on to the next location, we spoke to her, and she was very, very appreciative.
She is.
So they did do a very good job. And then we got to see in the new store, they, again, like you said earlier, they didn't let us buy anything.
Right.
But we saw the setup of, it used to be the Briar Patch, right? And then now it's Critter Corner?
Critter Co-op.
Critter Co-op. I don't know why I keep saying Critter Corner Co-op.
Critter Co-op. Yeah, that's what it's called.
I keep saying the wrong thing. So they have, of course, T-shirts. They have a Spirit jersey. They have a lounge fly. They have ears, popcorn and suckers, and even a cookbook. They have all that kind of stuff.
They do, because Leah Chase, who is the real life inspiration for Tiana, They actually brought some. They own a restaurant in New Orleans. They actually have some of like their sauces and hot sauces and things like that for sale in the shop, or seasonings and such like that.
Yeah, so you can actually buy that stuff in the store. I kind of wish that we could have bought something, but no go.
I have to say, I have never seen with a new attraction a store that had so much merchandise for the new attraction like I did for this one.
Guardians was pretty close.
Guardians was close, but this has so much. Guardians, you got to remember, though, they brought a lot of stuff from the MCU into the Guardians store. This one is based all solely on Tiana's story and the animals and the critters and such of that story.
Yeah,
where
it's a cute store. I would like
is.
to go back in when it opens, but I also know, like, just like on the island, there's going to be a bunch of personal shoppers in there and eBayers.
Yep, and people are going to buy it, sadly, because they won't get down here before they feel they'll be able to get the merchandise. So
Right, and of course, you know, there's that fear of missing out when it first opens, but they always restock.
they always do. Look at
So-
rose gold ears. Everybody had to have them, and then they eventually restocked them.
Yeah, don't be like the rose gold ears. So, all in all, we do like the attraction. I think that it's got some kinks to work out, just like the island does.
Mhm.
But overall, I do like it. And now Splash Mountain will always have a place in my heart.
Yep.
I went there when I was young and rode it, and then our kids went and rode it. So it has that special place as far as nostalgia and wonderful memories. But, you know, things always change. And, I was going to tell you. So when I recorded the segment for Fox 35 today, Marlisa, my co-person for my segments, said and I didn't know she was going to ask me this. She heard a rumor that because of all the issues, people are saying they're going to put it back to Splash Mountain. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was really surprised she asked me that. But no. Okay, so all of us Splash Mountain fans, we just need to get a grip because Tiana's Bayou Adventure is here to stay, and it is a lovely ride. Give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe wear a poncho.
Yeah, poncho would be a good idea, especially if you're going to sit in the front of the
My God. I used the poncho the second time we rode because I had just finally got my hair to dry and my shorts to dry. But yeah, just prepare for that. That's a doozy.
It is. It's a good drop. So I guess that's it for our media events over the few
We are way over.
We're way over, but we knew we would be. So just a couple quick things I just wanted to mention on our other attractions, pop culture. HHN did announce a new house while we were on the ship called A Quiet Place. So if you know the Quiet Place movies, there's actually going to be a house based on that, which is kind of creepy because, you know, there's no talking and there's no nothing. And it's like you got to be as quiet as you can. So if you scream, the creatures aren't come out and get you.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine.
So Michele can't go in there. And then and then Aquatica also started their new AquaGlow. If you've never been to Aquatica, it's SeaWorld's water park. It's fantastic. And they have AquaGlow nights. So if you go on their website, you can check those out.
Kind of like H2O Glow has
Yes.
at Typhoon Lagoon, but Aquatica's cheaper.
Yes, and that goes through August 10th. So make sure you check all that. So I have a quick question for Michele, like I do every week.
Okay.
So with all the rumor talks about a fifth gate for WDW,
Ooh.
which we don't know if it's going to happen, if it's just talks or what theme do you think would be the best? So you've heard people throw out stuff like a villains park. You've heard people throw out, but there has to be an overall theme, and there can be lands within that park. But what do you think would be a great theme for that park?
Well, I think that, they have a couple options. So like Hollywood Studios is obviously, we used to be like a movie studio that isn't anymore.
Right.
Epcot was supposed to be about intelligent things. Now it's a drinking park. Animal Kingdom is still, about the animals.
Not the zoo.
Not the zoo. And Magic Kingdom has a bunch of everything.
Right.
So I think if they were to do a villains park, it would have to be along the lines of like Animal Kingdom. I think that would work. So Epic Universe over at Universal is quickly being built,
Right.
and they have worlds inside that world.
Right. We actually just got a new coin for that today. So if you check out our Instagram,
Yeah,
you'll see.
Dark
Michele.
Universe is the next thing they're going to talk about, and that's coming out on the 20th.
Yes.
So we're excited. That's like the classic
Monsters and such will be in that.
So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think villains would be really cool. But if not, then a new park that's set up kind of maybe not as big as Magic Kingdom, but maybe have a villain's land and, like an animal spot that has like Zootopia and other things.
Oh,
and
I
then
didn't think about that.
put a freaking Tangled ride somewhere already.
See, I think it'd be cool, the villain section, to take Magic Kingdom a smaller version of Magic Kingdom, but it's all villains. So instead of Cinderella Castle, we have like Hades Castle,
or Maleficent with all her thorns around.
Yes, Chernobyl, something with him somewhere in there that would represent, because he's one of the most evil villains that Disney ever put out. So it's just, there's a lot of things. So I think villains either needs a land or a park. Either way, I would love it.
I don't think it's anything we're going to see for a very long time.
No.
I think that the area behind Big Thunder Mountain is going to be their next project.
Yes, I agree. And then Animal Kingdom.
And then all the stuff at Dino Land is going to be all new back there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a fifth park, honestly, in my opinion, because...
I don't either. Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon, because they have a lot going on in Disneyland. We have a lot going on here with Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom beyond Big Thunder. They don't have enough Imagineers to do it at all.
No, and I just think that, you know how if you have too many different projects going on at once, then you don't know where to focus, like your main things.
Right.
I think behind or beyond Big Thunder, as they call it. So when we were at that panel on Monday morning, Josh D'Amaro had played there was a video. And he was talking about being excited for all the things coming. Now, Josh can tell you that there are new fries over at Cosmic Rays and you get excited. He just has that delivery.
He does. He says stuff. It's like you buy totally into it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So he did say that there's a lot of cool things coming and we will find out at the D23 Expo in August. So I think any major announcements from what Josh D'Amaro said are going to be at D23.
Yeah, he dangled that carrot out there.
He sure did.
So what a tease.
Just tell us, Josh.
Just tell us, Josh. Come on. So I guess, are we done? Is that it?
Goodness gracious.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention MEI Mouse Fan Travel, our official travel sponsor. Becky Macon and her team over there can help you out with any of your travel plans. So if you want to go to Lookout Key, or if you want to come to Walt Disney World to see Tiana's Bayou Adventure, their team can help. Or if you want to go to see Epic Universe when it opens, they can help you with that.
Or go on Royal Caribbean and see their huge ships.
Yep, they can do anything for you travel-wise. So to reach out to them on our site. There's all kinds of links there. You can click and fill out some basic information. Somebody from her team will get back to you, and they'll be able to give you quotes.
And it's free.
Free for you. It doesn't cost you a dime. So make sure to use them for your travel needs.
Tell her that we sent you.
Yes, let them know where you came from. So, but that's it. So I'm going to let Michelle go ahead and close us out.
Thank you for listening to our supersized episode. I hope that you found it informational and that we were able to share as much of our info as possible. Don't forget to check our social media for like visuals of everything that we spoke about. I will continue to put out photos and video from our trip in the days to come. So keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and tell your friends. And I hope you have a magical week ahead, and we will see you real soon.
Our trip around the Magic Kingdom is almost complete. I can't thank you enough for spending part of your day with me. And I hope you've enjoyed your journey as much as I've appreciated being a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please gather your belongings. Watch your head and step as you exit. And take small children by the hand.
On behalf of our entire flight crew, thanks for soaring with us.
Now I will raise the safety bar, and a ghost will follow you home.